What is up, YouTube? This is Juggernaut44 coming back at you with another review. Okay, this is going to be a dual review starring Wolverine. The first book is Wolverine the End by Paul Jenkins. The second book is Wolverine Logan, a short miniseries by Brian K. Vaughan and Eduardo Risso. Okay, let's get to the bad first. Let's get that out of the way. Wolverine the End. This is supposed to be Wolverine's last story in the Marvel end lines regarding their characters. Do not pick this book up. This book is god awful. I don't know what they were thinking. I think because Paul Jenkins wrote the Wolverine origin story, which was critically acclaimed, and they said, okay, you wrote his beginning story, why don't you try his ending story? Well, he did a poor job with his ending story. I'm not going to really talk about the art. The art is not good at all, so let's get past that. And I'm going to spoil it for you guys because you don't need to be picking up this book anyway. You can thank me for actually spoiling it for you. It's nothing really big. All it has to do with is that Wolverine's old, and then he finds out that he has a brother. Yeah, that's basically it. And shit, it's very vague. His brother's story is very vague, and it's hard to find out where it fits in regards to Wolverine. The story in general is hard to follow. It's very inconsistent. It's very boring. It drags on. It's not a good comic book. Do not pick this up, whatever you do. I would say don't even pick it up if you can get it for a bargain. It is really not worth the read. The only interesting part I found was when Wolverine, he's trying to capture a deer for his dinner, and he can't, and he comes to, the writer's basically trying to explore that Wolverine's old, but yet he can't capture a deer, but he's still able to take on ninjas and super powered beings and whatnot as if he's still young. It really just doesn't fit at all. Avoid this at all costs. If you want to pick up the last Wolverine story, like a good old Wolverine story showing that the character is old, I would say pick up Old Man Logan by Mark Miller, or Mark Millar. No, it is pronounced Mark Miller. Pick that up instead of this, because this is hot garbage. Okay, moving on to the second review. I'm glad I read this afterwards, because this really redeemed Wolverine after reading that first story. This is Wolverine Logan by Brian K. Vaughan and Eduardo Risso. Brian K. Vaughan said that he wanted to do this comic book along with Eduardo Risso because he wanted to showcase off his talents, and I think he did so. Eduardo Risso is a artist. He's mostly known for 100 Bullets, a series I'm currently reading right now, and I have to say that book is good, but this is his best art that I've ever read by far, or ever seen by far. Brian K. Vaughan, you probably know him from the Runaways. He does a good job on this book as well. As far as story goes, the story first starts out generically as any other Wolverine story, or a lot of Wolverine stories do. It starts off with Wolverine in Japan, going back. It looks like he's meeting somebody for a fight, and then later on we learn that in a flashback that this story began in World War II with Wolverine being captured by the Axis power, or by the Nazis, I guess, and he's bunked with this inmate. The inmate and Wolverine escape. They find this woman The inmate wants to kill the woman because she is with the Japanese enemies. Yeah, he's captured by Japanese, not Nazis. But the inmate wants to kill her. Wolverine wants to spare her. They part ways because of this discussion. Wolverine finds shelter with the woman. The woman is drawn very beautifully by Edward Rizzo. Brian K. Vaughan then goes into a explores the relationship with Wolverine and this woman. It's written very well. Pick this up by all means. Now, the conflict comes by with this Wolverine. This woman is basically slain by the inmate. He comes back and kills her. And then Wolverine basically faces off with this guy in regards an act of revenge. I'm sorry if I spoiled this for you. My fault. But some interesting things happen in this book. Another thing to spoil. I'm sorry. We find out that Wolverine can apparently survive an atom bomb explosion. I don't really agree with that, but hey, whatever. It seems like Wolverine is definitely invulnerable to anything nowadays. I mean, in a book by Mark Gringoire or whatever, in the pages of Wolverine, he survives an explosion and is able to revitalize himself from just bones. So apparently Wolverine is just indestructible. But pick this up. It is well worth the read. Brian K. Vaughan doesn't disappoint. Eduardo Rizzo doesn't disappoint. And that's the review. As far as the old man, the Wolverine, the end story, I give that shit a fucking 1 out of 10. The second story, Wolverine Logan by Brian K. Vaughan and Edward Rizzo, I give that a 8 out of 10. So that's my review. Thank you for your time. Hope to see you later. Please give me a comment on my review. Let me know how I'm doing, and I appreciate that.